My name is Paris Anderson. I'm a sophomore bio majors chemistry minor from Somerset, New Jersey.
Uh, Hi, my name is Jay Funyeh, sophomore African American Studies major from Chicagoland area of Illinois.
My name is Anissa McGowan. I'm from PG County, Maryland. I'm currently attending an art school. It's SAIC, School of the Art Institute, Chicago.
My name is Drew Williamson. I am a Howard University junior, legal communications major from Jersey City, New Jersey.
Hi, my name is Zoe Talley. I'm a freshman political science major from Canton, Michigan.
Hi, I'm Usman Cheek. I should be a junior. I don't know how it's playing with my credits. I'm from DC, born and raised in DC, and bio major. Interested in a lot of things, always keeping my mind up.
I think I started struggling with mental health when I was in the 7th grade, or maybe it was 8th grade. I'm honestly not completely sure. I had a lot of issues growing up with bullying, and so I had really low self-esteem and insecurities when I was in grade school in general, elementary school, 5th grade. I know for a fact I was going through a lot, so I had issues fitting in at an early age, and I guess it kind of just grew from insecurity and uncertainty into depression and anxiety.
Struggled with mental health a lot in high school because a lot of different stressors. I ended up my senior year, right before I graduated, started seeing a therapist to talk about different issues, suicidal thoughts and stuff like that, anxiety and depression, and that stuff doesn't necessarily go away, but I've been working on it recently, I'd say.
So I realized I was struggling with anxiety after Hurricane Katrina. I was 10, and I, at the time, did not know I was having panic attacks, but I used to just feel like the room was closing in, and I didn't really know how to manage that. My mom struggles with panic attacks also, but she didn't really pinpoint that as a panic attack either, so it wasn't until college, really, that I realized, okay, I think that what's going on is, probably something I need to talk to a therapist about. This might be a mental health issue.
I realized something was wrong, for real, probably my sophomore year. Freshman year, I did have a lot the symptoms started freshman year. Sophomore year, when I really noticed that something was wrong, so I needed to do something about it. I just wasn't happy. I wasn't really excited to go to school, and I've loved school my whole life. Even if I didn't do, I did well in high school, but I also didn't do well. But I've always loved school. I still love school. So for me to not really want to wake up every day and go to school, personally, that's what I mean.
I had ADHD for a while. I just got diagnosed. So I get pills. But I've been ADHD essentially my whole life. My mom is ADHD, or she has it, undiagnosed, but we have a big problem with procrastinating in my family, and I think honestly ADHD has a lot to do with that. People not being able to finish tasks and shit like that.
I have been diagnosed with bipolar depression and acute anxiety. I started really showing severe symptoms of my depression in 7th grade. I had changed middle schools, so I was getting used to a whole new group of people, and I'm not good at meeting new people, so I kind of kept to myself, and it kind of left me in an isolated position. So I kind of spent 7th and 8th grade real separate from a whole lot of people, and from there it just kind of became a general disinterest in a whole array of things. So after a suicide attempt in 7th grade, my mom had me in therapy, and the rest is history.
It's been something I've been dealing with when I was really young, but I wasn't aware of it until I came to college. there would be times where I'd be really happy and then really, really sad. So there was like these extreme mood swings that would happen. A lot of times I felt apathetic growing up. Most kids were excited to go to soccer practice. Most kids were excited to do things and visit places and see friends and family. I really just wanted to sit back and almost, I don't know, crawl into a shell. Sometimes, other times I was over the top. It was strange. Because in one instance I'm this really reserved kid, and the next I'm just over the top, arrogant. It was weird, you know. Then I came to college, and that's when I had the first attempt on my life. And that's kind of when I realized something wasn't right.
So I started cutting myself in 8th grade. At first it started like small, it was like paper clips and stuff, but I don't know. I don't remember exactly what had happened, but I just kind of remember being immensely upset about something. And I didn't know what to do with all of the emotion that I was feeling. I wanted to cry, but I couldn't. I wanted to talk to someone, but it was like 4 a.m. Like no one was up. It was just, I was alone, and I was way too emotional to kind of be by myself. And I went to go take a shower, and it was a razor blade that my sister was using earlier to like shave her legs or whatever. And I took it apart, and then it just kind of escalated from there.
Up in my life, no one knew though. I was at a party and I just kept drinking Everclear, so I was trying to drink myself to death. Ended up waking up and I was throwing up blood everywhere. And I was just there in the hospital, blood all over myself in the ER. My friend, she was there on the phone with my parents. And everyone just kind of chalked it up to, oh, Drew got too much to drink, but I knew what I was trying to do. But the second time around, my sophomore year, that's when, you know, people took notice.
You know, my anxiety sort of manifests itself sometimes in picking or scratching at myself. And I think that started, I mean, my realization of that it was a problem was when I was wearing long sleeves and long pants in 100-degree weather to cover up everything that I'd scratched at. And I almost passed out. And actually, I think I did pass out once because I wouldn't go outside. And so, you know, I realized it's not cool. I can't be a hermit because of anxiety. Or because of whatever it was. I didn't have a name for it at the time. So, yeah, that's when I sort of brought myself to a counselor. We talked it out. The first counselor wasn't great, so I went to a second counselor. And so that sort of began the process of me finding a fit that worked. And when I did, I realized, again, it's fixable. It's something you can talk to somebody about. It's something you can find support with your friends for and online if you just open your mouth and you know, take that first step of saying, hey, like, something's off.
No, actually, therapy hasn't been anything for me. I've seen 7, 8 therapists. None of them stuck. Talking to strangers doesn't do anything for me. I'd much rather confide in like a friend or my sister. Even if it doesn't like help, I like it. Talking about it makes me feel better, and I don't like talking to people.
It actually did help. I guess not to put like my family business, but like I'm not the only person in my family to see one. So when I came to my mother and talked to her about starting to see one, she already knew what would be very beneficial for me. So I didn't see anybody like white or like anything like that. I tried to. My mom actually, she specifically looked for a black woman to help me, and when I found the person I was going to talk to, it actually really did help. I got to just tell my perspective on things, and you know, just like really be open. And it took a long time for me to be completely open about myself to a person, because you have to like get to know them, and they become like a really important person in your life.
It was just really repetitive after a while. So I was afraid because I was like, I didn't know if therapy was just going to be repetitive. So I was like, if therapy can't help me, then I wasn't really sure what it was.
Well, I'm totally just really concerned. Other people don't seem to get it. I think that's the biggest thing. People really don't understand. You know, it's strange. Like, you try to talk to people about it, and for some reason they think you can control it. A lot of times people around campus especially kind of think that I'm either really mean and aloof, or that I'm just like cocky and arrogant like an asshole. And for a while I kind of believed it, because I would kind of just the way I behaved, it was really sporadic. You know, I didn't hold my tongue about anything. I didn't have any type of political correctness to what I was doing or saying. I was really reckless in my thought, my behavior, everything I did. So I was really offensive a lot of times too. I would snap, I would be cutthroat, you know, or really arrogant, spending money excessively, drinking excessively. And I always thought that was just my behaviors, my personality. You know, what's wrong with me is I'm just sick. Like, it's not like I'm choosing to be this way. Or it's not like, you know, some type of personality quirk. It's just like a broken arm, it needs mending.
I remember last year, my freshman first semester, I was talking to some people. I was having kind of like an issue in my friend group at the time, and I just like kind of, because we're having like some problems with those people, I don't even talk to them anymore, but like I expressed this part of myself to them, saying like, okay, yeah, I know I act like this sometimes, but I'm just trying to, and I know like we don't always agree, but this is something in my life that I'm dealing with currently. And they didn't really react at all. Like, it's sometimes I feel like some people don't necessarily believe you, and they're just like, you're making like, they think you're making an excuse. You know, they think you're just trying to, you know, make something up to be like a special snowflake. And a lot of people like think that this is that because there are so many more people coming out and saying that they have like these mental issues, that they are like faking it. But in reality, it's just like we've gotten more information scientifically, and more people are feeling comfortable enough to come forth about it.
I was in a really abusive relationship starting my freshman year of college, and I don't really want to blame my anxiety for me being there, but I think sort of my constant questioning of myself, and me constantly wondering whether I was in the wrong, or, you know, feeling like everything's my fault, sort of made it easier for me to fall into a relationship where somebody else was telling me those same things. I had somebody else, you know, telling me that I wasn't worth anything, and that I messed everything up. And that was already what my head was telling me. So I do think that anxiety sort of made that a more complex issue than maybe it would have been for somebody who didn't have anxiety. So yeah, it has affected me socially and romantically.
This person I think I told was my sister, and she's just kind of been there for me ever since. She picks up all of my phone calls, texts me every day, make sure I'm doing all right. I told my girlfriend, and she's trying to help me. If she ever sees me like looking real upset or something, she'll make sure that I'm okay. All of my best friends know, and anytime I get upset, they're always, you know, you can do it, you got this. So I've never really had a negative reaction, except for, you know, my mother. My mom thinks it's a white people disorder.
With queer people of color, especially, mental health is definitely something it's there. It's like an issue that's pretty prevalent. For myself, again, with the whole idea of expression, you know, as a black male, you're not allowed to express your feelings for a lot of things in general, but also expressing like yourself, your gender expression and your sexual expression, like that is definitely still very taboo, unless it's predatorial, like in terms of like, you know, women. Like a lot of times we're most definitely made to like try to get as many girls as possible, but if you express anything else, it's definitely not seen as okay by older people or just like society as a whole. So I'd say it's definitely intersex, and it takes a mental toll on you a lot of the time.
As a student, it's kind of been a big reason of why I didn't perform as well as I should have in high school. Like in high school, I've always been really bright. Like my family always saw me as like the bright girl who was like, you know, reading and actually cared about learning. I always like used big words. I didn't even know how to curse until like 8th grade because I didn't get it. I didn't understand the need. Like, you have so many words, why would you cuss? But I think over time, because my mental health was so poor, and like I really didn't understand the importance of uplifting yourself and doing things that you need to do to elevate yourself and where you're going, I stopped caring about school. So like in high school, I got really shitty grades because I just didn't see the point of like anything. So I was like, you know, what does this matter? Like, what does this mean? I was too busy in my own head. Like, what's my life's purpose? You know, like, do I hate myself today, rather than actually paying attention in class and like being on my shit and, you know, getting homework done and things like that like a high schooler should be doing.
It sort of interferes with day-to-day function. You know, if I'm going to study for a test or something and I don't feel prepared, there are those triggers that college sort of brings, just the natural stresses of college. So it's meant having to take more time to really check in with myself and say, hey, you know, what's going on? I can't necessarily just take on a lot of work or a lot of anything without sort of beforehand thinking, you know, how is this going to work with anxiety?
I like wouldn't write down assignments and shit, and I'd go home and I'd just be fucking around on a computer playing games and shit, and then I'd just not turn in so many assignments. Like, I can't even tell you how many assignments I just didn't do. Of course I regret that shit now, and now this is where like the anxiety kicks in, because it's like thinking about all the shit that I could have done before, or thinking about now that I have ADHD, or now I can say that I have it, like fucking going to sleep at night thinking about all the shit that I wanted to do that day, but I didn't because I was just distracted doing the same shit, and that's kind of like depressing to think about, to like dwell on the shit that I could have been doing, but I mean, like, it's kind of like every day, because I know that it's my own doing, and I know that it's not something that I can't control. It's not something that I'm like in too deep, but it's like a daily thing where I'm like, damn, I wish I did more. And then I'm like, okay, well, I can do more tomorrow. And then same shit. I really should tell my professors that I have this issue, because, you know, then they could actually try to make some accommodations, give me more time, or, you know, I don't know, like a secluded area. I just don't want to feel like I'm like quarantined, kind of, but I know that I need it. So it's more like me coming to terms with the fact that now I have something that is diagnosable and can then be like acted upon, considering the fact that my situation is not the same as other people's.
It's revolutionary to be able to seek help for yourself, because self-care is like, and protecting yourself in a world that doesn't want you to exist is like, that's a revolutionary act.
I find to be the most helpful is, you know, really just doing the things that I like, you know. And it kind of sounds weird, but like really finding things that are like you genuinely enjoy doing and sharing that with others. Like, I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. So getting out the hospital, I kind of just revisited that part of my life again, and I just started researching everything and learning everything about the wizarding world, and then sharing that with people, and kind of just being yourself, and just helps you feel comfortable. You know, finding something you just like to do, but just putting it out there, saying it, writing it, getting it out of you. I'm trying to understand it, not understand why you are the way you are. Why am I mentally ill? I'm not saying that, but understanding your feelings, getting more in tune with them. You know, in the Black community, I think a lot of times, especially with young men, we have to be more macho and hypermasculine because for years and years and years we've been oppressed, and we've kind of had this, been oppressed. Our bodies have been sexualized. You know, for a long time, you know, Black men, when we were in slavery, used for breeding. So this whole idea of being hypermasculine, being strong, being macho, not feeling, being cool, those conventional ideas really, really plague Black men. And I think that's a lot of times why we don't get in tune with our feelings. For so long, I know. That's why I know I didn't get in tune with the way I was feeling. I wouldn't talk about it, wouldn't think about it. I just react very, very impulsively. You know, I didn't want to take time to figure out what I was feeling. But, you know, you grow up, you read more, you learn more about yourself. And you kind of break away from those hypermasculine tendencies because you realize how detrimental they are.
I spent a lot of time just like kind of rebuilding my mindset and trying to figure out the way I look at life and like my perspective and my overall like approach into the way I receive the world around me. And I just started to take more time to appreciate the positives and like accept the beauty in everything, like even the littlest thing. You know, like when you think about it, negativity really isn't as like heavily abundant as I made it seem like it was. So now it's just way smaller when compared to how blessed I am in all these other ways.
A major key has been journaling. I just got myself a unlined marble notebook and I started writing out my thoughts, and then once I finished writing them out, I sort of have a conversation with myself like I would with a friend. So I'm able to look back on what I'm thinking, and if my thoughts that day are, Amanda, you're not worth anything, or you know, you can't do anything right, then I just go back and look at it and realize I would never say that to a friend, because I don't think that of any of my friends, and I realize I don't think that of myself really when I take things apart. So journaling and having that record of sort of where my head is and being able to have a conversation with that has really, I think, prevented me from falling into other bad relationships, and it's helped me to navigate relationships that I'm in now, just sort of determine whether or not I'm mentally in a space to be in those.
My mom loved Oprah, so Oprah had a ton of journals. So that was something that my mom kind of just always pushed me and my sister to do, was journal. So I never really, I mean, I've had so many journals. Like, I still have them at home, they're just incomplete, and that's because like they were all super lined. But I've always had notebooks throughout my life that I would either put my ideas in, and then when the depression started hitting, I started putting like my feelings and like my thoughts and those types of things. Just because I knew, especially like the more unhealthier, so like the darker that the thoughts were, the more important it was for me to journal and get them out. Because even if I felt like I couldn't tell somebody else, I would at least be expressing it instead of holding it in. Because I think that was one of the worst things, like, is bottling.
And I know it's so cliche to say things get better, but things really do get better. 9th grade, I was not at all concerned with how my life would be right now. I was so just in myself and in my feelings that I wasn't looking at the future. And I like the life that I have now. Like, I have a dope group of friends. I'm at one of the most amazing universities in the country with a whole bunch of people who look like me, talk like me, you know, and it's better. I didn't think I'd get to a point where like I look at my life and go, wow, I'm happy, but like I'm happy now, you know? So it's just, things definitely do get better. No matter what you're going through, I know it looks like it's not going to get better, but I can assure you, you've been in situations where you've looked at yourself and you've gone, I'm not going to make it through this, but you've made it through. This is just another one of those things, you know? Things do get bad. I'm not saying that things aren't bad, but through the bad, there's always some good. You have to focus on the good, and that's what's going to get you through everything you're going through.